Alright everybody, seeing as we were down at the shop today, Wiggles requested a ride on the tractor. So we got the old Cockshutt 40 out. I don't think I've ever introduced this critter to you. My grandfather-in-law, my wife's maternal grandfather, built this tractor back in the 70s. It's a GM 305 V-6 out of a truck that he mated up to this machine, and it's a pretty gnarly tractor in its day. Pretty well known around the Byron Center area for being a real brute out on a plow. But he mostly, my understanding was, did hay with it. They really liked the live power takeoff that these had for running hay balers. They were the first company that ever came out with that. So anyways, and we're taking a cruise back through the junkyard. This is where my shop is, and we'll take a little cruise around, and then I'll give you a walk around to the tractor when we get back up front. This is the old car crusher. Wayne Rose built that back, I want to say about 1973, out of literally junkyard scrap. But anyway, that thing has crushed a lot of cars. It was one of the first ones in the state, and definitely the first one that was owned by a small scrapyard, not a big conglomerate like Padnose. They're talking about cutting it up for scrap. Dale still owns that one, and he's talking about cutting her up. It's kind of outlived its usefulness now. All told, there's somewhere around 15 acres with the scrapyard here. I don't do very much out here anymore. Scrap prices are too volatile, so I kind of laid off that and decided that I'd stick to repair work, which is what I really know how to do. There's more of the scrapyard back across the creek, but I don't feel like going all the way back there, so we're going to crawl our way out of here. Back the old girl up. Spin her around. Backside of the old crusher. I used to run this thing a lot when I was in my late teens. Got a 390 Ford powering it. These woods used to be just jam-packed full of scrap metal, but we pretty well cleaned that up before I bought the place from Dale. Everything that's over on the right side here is still his collection. Where this driveway is basically driving right down the property line. So everything over here to the left is stuff that I accumulated that's left over from when I was operating regularly. Here comes Dale right now with a loader. He's got a truck on that he's getting ready to scrap, so we'll hang off to the left and take the other route out around through the yard so we don't interfere with him getting through with the truck he's crushing. There's my loader, Alice Chalmers 840. The engine's pretty tired. I've got a new engine to put in it, but it's one of those someday we'll get around to it projects. up ahead is the old rollback. It's got a International DT466 in it that's got the notorious cylinder liner O-ring leak going on, so I got to tear that down. This is supposed to be my new work truck. It's an old U-Haul rig. Once I get the engine straightened out, that's got the big black Vortec in it. This is a crew cab Dodge that I'm doing a Cummins transplant in for one of the neighbors. Alright, we'll do a stop here and a walk around. Alright. So this is quite the critter. So like I say, this is, forget what year, 1960s somewhere, GM 305 V6. Grandpa Sturm built all these adapter plates for this thing. I mean, did just an absolutely fantastic job. Built his own manifolds because the truck manifolds were downswept and he wanted some upswept manifolds like a proper tractor ought to have. So hand built all of that stuff. Built his own brackets for his power steering pump. Just did, it's one of the classiest installations I've ever seen. My first introduction to this tractor was when I joined the family. It wasn't running very good anymore. So I ended up converting it to electronic ignition. Got an HEI distributor for a GMC inline 6-cylinder and machined adapters up and modified the drive gear so that I could put that whole distributor in here. And then put a rebuild in the carburetor. As you can see, she hums pretty nice now. She's anyway, there she is. Wiggles didn't care for the noise of revving it up. Can I say hi, Wiggles? Hi. Alright, well, there she is. Cockshutt 40 with a GM 305 V6. Alright, we just got done hooking on the brush hog. We're going to go do a little bit of hogging with the old critter. Figured I'd do another walk around here without it running so you can hear me. Anyway, GM 305 V6. It's, yeah, pretty gnarly old beast. I don't know exactly what horsepower it's putting out. This engine, I believe, is rated at 115 horse, but it does have a belt-driven governor on it that's limiting RPM. And I looked up the torque and torque specs for this engine, and as far as I can tell, it's probably running about 90 horsepower at the speed that it's governed at. So, anyway, still pretty gnarly bit of horsepower in a tractor this vintage. I mean, this started with like 50 or 45, something like that. So, anyway, we're going to go get some mowing done. I won't be able to shoot video of that because I'm going to be running the tractor.